You are now tuned in to Go Time Dolphins with Charlie Touche and Kadeem Simmons, the Miami Dolphins podcast that's for the fans and by the fans.
Gotta make them lose their mind when it's your time. And it's show time. Going all out when it's go time. I ain't wasting no time. Gotta make them lose their mind when it's show time. Cause it's your time. Lay it on the line when it's go time. Don't waste no time.
I still don't like this, even though we've been doing this for 4 years now. It needs to be live. If it's not live, if it's not everyone in the comments saying, "Hey, what's up?" then it's not the same. I feel like this what it must have been like to play during lockdown with no fans, just an empty stadium. I feel like once, like having had our fans around us, going back to just us two, I don't like it.
But that's probably the best analogy you ever said on this podcast. it does feel like some type of COVID lockdown when we don't have the live up. We still haven't figured out if we're gonna start going live on every episode or what. But it's Go Time Dolphins, the Miami Dolphins podcast that goes not only across the pond but across the world. I'm your boy Charlie Touche. Got my co-host Kadeem Simmons with me. It's always for the fans and by the fans. Your favorite podcast. Kadeem, I did that multitasking too. Like it just comes out. You know, it just rolls off the tongue. You feel me? Look, man, we got a guest today. We're not gonna take long to bring him in. It is that time of year. It's the most wonderful time of the year. It's not Christmas, but on this podcast, this is a big deal, and that's quarterback rankings. We're going to bring in ShareRide Steve. It's been a minute since he's been here. ShareRide Steve, how you doing, bro?
I'm doing great, guys. I'm doing great.
What's up, man? Where you been, bro?
Just busy with work, man, and raising a little one, and yeah, I'm getting caught up on the off season. I was a little sluggish at the beginning, but that free agency period got me back in, and feels good, man, to be here to talk some Dolphins with you boys.
Mini Coop, how many ShareRide Mini doing?
He's getting big, man. People say it goes by fast. They don't lie, man.
That's crazy. Hey, so couple updates on what's going on in today's Dolphins news. Trent Sherfield signs to the Buffalo Bills. I think everyone here kind of wanted Trent Sherfield to come back. And I think we kind of thought we might not be able to keep him after one season. I thought he was a real good piece to be, run the motion and key in the blocking game. But he's not wide receiver 3 that you have to pay more than $8 million for. How you guys feel about losing Trent Sherfield?
All you, Steve, because I have something to say about what Trent Sherfield said about Miami, or more about Tua, I should say.
I mean, it just broke just a little while ago. I was surprised and disappointed. I thought he was a good glue guy for us, and I thought he really, we talk about what McDaniel wants from the wideouts. You got to be tough. You got to be a blocker. He was just that nice fit. He seemed to come up with some nice, timely, big plays here and there. I was really disappointed, and then especially once again we lose somebody to a division rival, which makes it sting a little bit more. So, no, it didn't feel great to me. I saw Craycraft 400's back, so I guess he's got to be stepping up a little bit.
Oh. Go ahead, Kadeem.
Have you guys seen what Trent Sherfield said about his decision to go play in Buffalo and turning down other teams?
Remind the people what Trent Sherfield said, Kadeem.
He said, if you want to be an elite receiver, come and play with an elite quarterback. Now, my Miami Dolphins Twitter followers have just been like, dude, you are dead to me. Like, you do not say that about QB1. That was per at Matt Perino, who then also essentially said, this wasn't a shot at Tua, FYI. He said he wanted to return to Miami, and it seemed like the Dolphins moved in a different direction and wanted other guys to step up. So yeah, I don't think Trent Sherfield would be disrespectful to Tua in some way, but this is the wonderful world of Twitter where you can't get the full, press conference or anything like that. And when that one tweet came out, the replies and quote tweets are just like, yeah, Trent Sherfield. Wait till you come back to Miami. We've got something for you. Like Javon Holland wants to say hello.
So yeah, it's shout out to King of Finland. We almost shout this man out every episode. He said you got to check the context of what someone said, especially on Twitter. You know me on Twitter. Don't give me a 4-second video and say, oh, this person was open when we don't know the progression of this route. You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing on Twitter. Someone said something and everybody ran with it. So many rumors out there with players, and we just discussed a rumor that turns out wasn't true. And then, there's basketball rumors, it's a personal stuff. So with this, it's just, what's the context? Context is Trent Sherfield wanted to come back to Miami. He wanted to be a Dolphin, but Dolphins decided to go another direction. And shout out to King of Finland. Out of the people who were left, out of the teams who were left, Trent Sherfield chose Buffalo. Hence, okay, he chose the elite quarterback of the teams that were left. If you just read it on surface level, you're gonna, Tua's not elite. Hey, man, y'all see the shirt, man. Yeah, hey, not only you see the shirts, you see the triceps too, man. Hey, I'm ready to choke somebody out, man. Hey, ShareRide Steve, bro, I'm in jiu-jitsu now, man.
I know it, man.
Hey, I like it, bro. I can't wait. I cannot wait now, man.
Hey, we know it's a 1-year deal. Do we know how much?
I didn't hear the amount. I knew it was a 1-year deal, and I kind of thought, I'm like, yo, is it guaranteed? Is he even gonna make the roster? You know what I'm saying? Because a glue piece for us, doing all the dirty work for us, doing all the blocking and everything like that for us, might not be a glue piece for someone else. This is, if he doesn't make the roster, and he gets released or cut or something, who knows what might happen. But that's a good question though, Steve. I'm sure Kadeem's gonna try to find it. I don't know if it's even out there. But yeah, man. Hey, jiu-jitsu, Steve. What's up, man? You heard about it.
Dude, I am way too old, man. And we're the same age. So I have problems just getting through the day.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Hey, listen. When I decided to take it up, bro, I was like, man, I used to work 84-hour weeks. You telling me I can't give jiu-jitsu 6 hours of my week? You know what I'm saying? So I like it. I liken it to CPR or knowing how to use a firearm. Like, yeah, you hope you never have to use any of these things. You hope you don't have to use CPR on someone. You hope you don't have to use your firearm. And for me, I hope I don't have to use jiu-jitsu on anybody. I'm just saying. What's up, Kadir?
You and Hayes. You keep forgetting. You and Hayes are having a little.
Hey, listen. When William Hayes come back on to the podcast, I was supposed to go to his crib. You know what I'm saying? I might have to heel hook that boy. It's a wrap for him. It's over with. It's over with. Did you find it, Kadeem?
I haven't seen anything about it coming out, so I doubt it will come out at the moment.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, we do know, I don't think we discussed it on GTD yet, what Mike Gesicki's earning in New England. It's like a 1 year up to $9 million deal. And I know ShareRide Steve and yourself, Charlie, had like a little conversation. Like, now the time to air it out. I'm just gonna sit back, get some popcorn, and let you two discuss Mike.
You want to refresh the minds of the people about what the conversation was about with me and ShareRide Steve?
ShareRide Steve, like, I don't need to refresh anything when he can speak for himself. I'm not gonna put words in ShareRide Steve's mouth. I don't need to.
I was hoping you brought up Elandon Roberts being signed by Pittsburgh first. Like, you know what I'm saying? So shout out to Elandon Roberts, found a home in Pittsburgh. They call him the general. Honestly, a super good fit for Elandon Roberts. He's that type of player. I know he might not have lived up to what we hope, our expectations here in Miami, but he is a football player. And as just a football fan, that's the type of dude I want on my team. So he landed on his feet in Pittsburgh. What's up, ShareRide Steve? What you got, man? Mike Gesicki goes to New England on a 1-year deal. Is it
1 year deal?
Another 1-year deal for Mike Gesicki. And is he the only tight end that's been signed so far? I think he's the only one who's been signed so far.
No,
OJ
Robert
Howard
Tunji went to Chicago.
Oh, well, yeah, OJ Howard just got signed recently. OJ
Yeah,
Howard
like,
just got signed recently.
to
Yeah,
the Raiders, and obviously Darren
Yeah.
Waller went to
right. He got traded.
Yeah.
Darren Waller got traded. So what's up, Steve? What you got, man?
No, I'm just saying we had a back and forth last year, and Kadeem was absent for an episode, and I came in to do one with you, Charlie, and yeah, you guys just wanted to put me on blast for my tight end rankings. I mean, we can go back. Obviously, there's the tape of this, and you try to roast me for saying that Gesicki wasn't a top 5 guy, and I had him. I thought, and it was pretty generous, probably too. That's like 7, I think. I put him roughly.
It wasn't top
Definitely
5.
not
It don't
top
matter.
5.
It don't matter where you had him. But
And you told me that just wait. And I said free agency. That's what tells. And you get paid your value. And we saw what the market said for Gesicki. I'm not trying to pile on the man, but you can't tell me being 7th in the entire league is not a diss. That is a high compliment, but you cannot tell me Andrews and we don't have to go down the whole list, but even
there's no list. That's what I'm saying. It's a short list.
Dallas Goedert from Philadelphia.
Okay.
You mocked me. He got $14 million 2 years ago. 2 years ago.
Okay.
That is a significant difference.
ShareRide Steve.
Explain that.
It's convenient how you forgot Mike Gesicki got $15 million last year. That we just all of a sudden skipped 2022 and went to 2023.
Where are you getting 15 from?
He was free. He got tagged.
15?
What? Oh, is that 10?
Yeah, it was more like 11 tops.
Can you find out, Kadeem? You actually might be right. You actually might be right. And I think the tag was significantly lower. So you might be right. It might have been 10, 11. It might have been 10 and a half, actually.
10.9.
10.9?
10.9.
$11 million. All right. You're right. I gotta eat that. I ain't gonna lie, I gotta eat that. But I gotta do this though. His value went down when we stopped using him. You can't be on a contract year and hope to make the contract you are expected to make, and then all of a sudden get paid like the 16th best tight end in the league. That can't work, bro.
When was his value up?
The year before last.
Oh,
before the season that just ended, his value was up. That's why we had the conversation. Where is he in the top of the tight ends? You know what I'm saying? So his value was up before that.
I'm pretty sure if we looked up his stats from that year, it's not top 3, top 4, top 5 stats.
I'm pretty sure if we look up his stats, he had like 750 yards in 2021.
Dude has great hands. His problem is can't block, which is the given, but also separation. He could not separate well, and didn't make sense why, but some guys are just better at it than others. And I think his feel, that's what I don't want to say just diminishes his value, but for me, he was the highlight dunker. He was the dude on the basketball team that, wow, he would just make that highlight play and get you jacked up and be like, that was incredible. And you're going to watch that on the highlights. But the other 20, 30 minutes, there's nothing much to look at. So
I'm be real. He can't separate and he can't break a tackle either. So I give you all of that. But what I'm saying is his value went down when we stopped using him. I'm gonna give you this. How about this? If he was in the conversation to be a top, you say 7. I said 4. I said he was in the top 4. Only tight ends I had above him was Waller, Kelsey, and Kittle. That was it. And to this day, I'm sticking by that. Now, if you say inline tight end, it's a different conversation. He's not an inline tight end. So he's really getting paid like a slot receiver right now. And I imagine that may be how they use him. In New England, now you're going to have Juju Smith-Schuster over there, and you have Mike Gesicki, probably going to play both in line, well, not in line, but intermediate routes in the middle of the field. He's getting paid like a slot receiver, and I gotta believe it's because he's like, yo, 1 year, I'm gonna prove my value. Since y'all man's McCorkle Jones. How about that? How about that segue? McCorkle Jones is gonna be throwing to him. So he said, nah, I'm not trying to be married to McCorkle Jones. I'm only here for 1 year. And since I know he can't throw the deep ball, excuse me, let me clear my throat. Let me go here to New England and eat up all the intermediate routes that this man is going to throw me anyway, since he can't throw it deep.
I bet you Bill O'Brien was the driving force of getting him there, because I think he played under O'Brien at Penn State. So
and I bet you Bill O'Brien knows that McCorkle Jones ain't it. That's why they got him weapons in Gesicki.
Okay.
Sorry, say that again.
I'm sure Bill O'Brien knows McCorkle Jones ain't it. That's why they brought in Mike Gesicki.
That's a really bad argument to make, though.
What you mean?
Because whether a quarterback is it or not it, they still need weapons regardless.
Yeah, but it's an intermediate route weapon. It's
But
not somebody that's going to go over the top. It's going to be someone who's going to catch the ball 15 times a game for him. That's why you brought in Juju Smith-Schuster too.
Yeah, but I'm saying, but like to say that I'm like the McCorkle Jones defender. All I'm saying is that to say that Bill O'Brien knows Jones isn't it, so he brought in Mike Gesicki because he needs weapons. It's the exact same thing that we accuse Tua haters of saying against Tua. I should
have been more clear. Intermediate weapons, because Juju Smith-Schuster is an intermediate weapon as well. None of Juju Smith-Schuster, Mike Gesicki, whoever you're gonna have coming out the backfield, bro. You should have that bet with McCorkle Jones. Like, I bet you can't throw the ball past 10 yards. That's a McCorkle Jones bet. That's not a Charlie Touche bet. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying, like, if you're gonna have stack the middle of the hashes, in between the hashes and the middle of the field with these big body receivers, it's only because you don't trust your quarterback.
The joke doing the rounds on social media is New England are running back the 2021 Miami Dolphins weapons. So go and get Preston Williams, because you got Devontae Parker, you just brought in Mike Gesicki. Go bring in Preston Williams and Jakeem Grant and see if you can run that back.
That's Devontae Parker, somebody else who's not going over the top. I'm just saying they know who their quarterback is. Hey, y'all want to segue into this quarterback conversation though?
I feel like we're there. I genuinely feel like we're there. For those who are somewhat new to Go Time Dolphins, where have you been? Make sure you share, like, and subscribe to the channel. We've got another live episode on Friday, 10 p.m. UK time, 6 p.m. Is it Eastern?
Eastern time.
6 p.m. Eastern. For all the other time zones in the States, I'm really sorry I can't help you there.
Hey, listen, even today, and this is the wildest thing. This is the beginning of our 4th season on Go Time Dolphins, and we still have not hashed out the time zone conversation for our podcast. This is bad, Kadeem. This morning we had to, like, Kadeem was like, oh, I think 6 o'clock is 3 p.m. your time, and maybe I can get home. I'm like, Kadeem, what time is it right now? And then I even had to use the world clock. I'm like, you sure, bro? Because I know the time's supposed to go back, time's supposed to go forward. It's a mess. I ain't gonna lie. We both a bit messy when it comes to the time zone thing. But go ahead.
But yeah, so the live episode on Friday, we'll be giving away a pair of friend of the podcast, Javon Holland game-worn gloves. So you do not want to miss the show. If you missed the show, can't help you again there. But yeah, the lives are the way forward. They are amazing. So yes, if you're new here, last year we somewhat had.
Hold on. Before you go on that, Kadeem, I just want to double up on that. If you were on the last live episode and you commented, you have twice the chance of someone else who comes to the next live show to win the Javon Holland gloves. We already gave away some. We gave away some Jakeem Grant gloves already. The Javon Holland game-worn gloves. If you commented on the last episode, on the last live episode, then you have double the chance to win it on this live episode. And we will be giving them away on the live episode this Friday. So when you come to the live episode, make sure you comment so we could get you in the we call it the wheel of death in the studio. You never want to see that wheel, but we could get you into the giveaway. All right, Kadeem, my bad. Go ahead, do your thing.
So last year, the three of us, myself, Charlie, and ShareRide Steve, had a very, very, very interesting quarterback rankings. I can't call it episode. I believe we went over 2 episodes because once we saw how we ranked quarterbacks from, Tua, Patrick Mahomes, Ben Roethlisberger, Daniel Jones, everyone in the league, where certain players ended up, it was such a cathartic exercise that we had to run it back the year after. We just had to. There will be some opinions that were said last year which will never ever be forgotten on this show. Charlie will just not let people, essentially say something and due to circumstances things change.
Circumstances? What are you talking about? What circumstances?
Like another year of football was played, and just because someone played worse, after the quarterback rankings doesn't mean that where they were ranked initially is a bad thing.
Continue.
But anyway,
no, continue, bro.
But anyway, one of the things that's kind of come to light since our last quarterback rankings episode is that the way we rank is somewhat different, or the criteria wasn't set. So, for example, when I done my quarterback rankings,
hold on. So you see how you had an example in there. So now you're gonna throw a disclaimer for how bad your list was. When I done my quarterback rankings, like, bro, it's all right to say you had a bad list.
No. I'm not saying mine were bad. I'm just saying how I done my quarterback rankings, which is a bit. I can't think of the right word. I can't think of the right word right now. But all I'm saying is I done my quarterback rankings based on the previous 16 games that I saw. I didn't take into account what they done the previous year or what they done in college. So if someone done, how they've been throughout their entire NFL career or what it looked like in college, it skews things by a fine margin. So it's probably best that we, as a free, and people in the comments, let us know, work out the best way or the criteria of how we're going to rank our quarterbacks from 1 to 32. Before Charlie starts talking, because he can go for 5 minutes, ShareRide Steve, was there anything that you disagreed with what I said or agreed with or anything?
No, I mean, that's why we're doing this right now. We got to figure out, we all have to be on the same page, because that was an issue for sure. Last year, we just said, let's rank the quarterbacks, and we didn't give a lot of criteria. And yeah, Kadeem, I definitely think your format needs to be tweaked, because it would be boring if we just said, okay, just rank what just happened last year. What makes it interesting is you got to predict the future. And that's what makes it the debate. There's no debate. Like, I'm going to put Jalen Hurts very high if we're just basing it off last year. The guy deserved it. He played a good season. But I don't see him repeating that type of season this year. Well, heads up on my list, maybe, but that's what I'm saying. I mean, I'm not a big Hurts fan. I know Charlie isn't, but yeah, we have to, and I'm okay with previous season. I think that has to be in the mix, but definitely, I think more so of what you see in the future than the past.
All right. So this is the quarterback rankings criteria episode. You're not going to get our quarterback rankings on this episode, but we need help determining what the criteria should be when we rank the top 32 quarterbacks in the NFL. All right. So for everyone listening, if you could help us out, hit us up on IG, hit us up on Twitter, hit us up in the comments on YouTube. Let us know what should the criteria be when we rank the top 32 quarterbacks in the NFL. Now, I guess we'll start off the conversation. I feel like it should just be the top 32 quarterbacks in the NFL. It doesn't matter if 2 quarterbacks are on the same team. It shouldn't be the top 32 teams. It should be the top 32 quarterbacks. So, for example, if the Jets have 3 quarterbacks, if none of them make the list, none of them make the list. It's the top 32 quarterbacks.
You going to be putting Teddy at like 20?
Hey, I'm just saying, man. Like, listen. Top 32 quarterbacks. How y'all feel about that?
Nah, I'm not a fan because I feel like you have to rank Zach Wilson. Not have to, but Zach Wilson is a 30. I don't think he's a top 32 quarterback right now, but he was a starter last year. So I kind of think that he needs to be somewhere on that list, be it bottom 10, bottom 5. No, it doesn't matter where. I feel like he should be on that list. And then you get into a situation where you got with like the Browns, with Brissett and Watson. Like, you might have to say only one can make it. And would it probably be Watson because he was the starter but missed, was it 8 games he missed or whatever it was, if that makes sense?
What do you think, Steve?
I think each team should be represented.
Oh man, y'all killing me, bruh. This is not it.
I don't know why you want it.
So all right, each team should be represented. Fine, we could go with that. But my thing is, if I could push back here, of course we're gonna like if Jacoby Brissett was better than Watson, we would just rank Watson. It would show itself on the rankings. You see what I'm saying? The rankings are gonna play out regardless. Now, there might be 1 or 2 teams that may not be represented, and I think that's okay. But for us to have to throw in, what's the dude's name? Davis Mills? That's his name? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we gotta put Davis Mills and who's a Jets quarterback?
Zach Wilson.
We gotta put Davis Mills and Winston on this list when they're not the top 32 in the top 32 of quarterbacks in the NFL. I don't like that. I think we should have the know-it-all to rank Mike White over Zach Wilson. But then we should know that.
Wouldn't Mike White then represent? But then surely it's a case of which quarterback represents the Jets, Mike White or Zach Wilson.
That's fair, but I'm just saying I don't think it should be. It has to be that way. I don't think it should be mandated. If it happens, it happens. But I don't think it should be mandated again. Because when you see the list, we don't put the teams next to the players. We just have the players' names. Like, who do you think the top 32 quarterbacks are? That's it. It's not per team. And then if I'm being real, it's only going to be 1 or 2 teams that's not represented. Maybe not represented.
But then I feel like with our first quarterback rankings list, we didn't have Watson. Now, Watson didn't play, and that's obvious. Right. But the Texans were represented. So it's like, and obviously it was like, okay, where would you put Watson even though he's currently not playing? And the circumstances were different then because I don't think we knew what had been accused of.
Right. And I got something for you, Kadeem, and this is help. And I know you're about to say something, but this will help. One, we don't have to determine it right now on this podcast while we're recording, because now people can have their say in it as well. People can hit us up in the comments as well. But at the same time, to be fair, Watson didn't play the previous season, so he wasn't on the list because he didn't play in the previous season. But now that he's played, and now that we can have this conversation, we just started the conversation. We don't have to end it today on this episode. However, when we do have the quarterback ranking episode, the criteria will be laid out for everyone to know how we rated or rank these quarterbacks. And we're going to have some friends of the podcast to, some affiliates, some GTD affiliates tag along this time as well. What other things you got, Steve?
You know what my problem though? Do you just want to get Teddy on your list again? Is that what? Is this the Teddy
rule? I did not say Teddy was going to be on. I did not say Teddy was going to be on my list, bro.
I think you had him in your top 20.
Teddy Bridgewater was better than Danny Nichols last year. Last season, Teddy Bridgewater was better than Danny Nichols. You can't say he wasn't.
When you say last season, you're talking 2022 or 2021?
2021.
Yeah.
When we rank the quarterbacks, Teddy was better than Danny Nichols.
But but last year was he?
No, he wasn't.
Oh, so I was more accurate putting Daniel Jones where I had him than you had.
Yes, you were. Yes, you were.
Okay, I just want to clarify.
Yeah, you know, I know you're not talking about clarifying stuff. I know you're not doing this right now.
Listen, so I think it's, I don't know. To me, let's just rank it as like almost which team is in the best position quarterback wise and what isn't. Because my thing is, I understand you want to say Mike White is possibly better than a rookie coming out, but we're not going to really, hopefully we're not going to watch Mike White play. So it's almost like a cop-out if you're going to put backups on your list, because there's a good chance we might not even watch them play. If they do play, it's going to be in a small sample size. So I would rather, have the real potential, the guy who's going to get the most reps on each team, and rank it like that.
So if I'm being real with you, Steve, it sounds like we're going to have to keep talking about this too. Even after this podcast, we'll get it figured out. But at the same time, there has to be a world in the conversation where, and this is a bad example, but I'm gonna use it. What if Teddy Teddy Two Gloves was the quarterback for the Giants? Would he have been better than Danny Nichols? We will never know that, but I'm pretty sure someone will make that argument that he would have been, because it was a better situation. You know what I'm saying? So he would have never got hurt. He got hurt in the Dolphins game, never came back. You know what I'm saying? So I think there has to be a nuance in the conversation for something like that. Well, if this quarterback played on this team, you know what I'm saying? Stuff like that.
Well, I was going to say, instead of, if we're not going to do each team must be represented, then is it not worth saying, in no particular order, let's name 32 quarterbacks and then rank them that way? Because then you get a situation where, okay, who's the representative for the 49ers? Brock Purdy or Jimmy G?
That's a perfect conversation. And again, I think it plays itself out, but go ahead.
Well, I can say, because it's interesting, because, the 49ers played 3 quarterbacks last year, probably 4, and that because of injuries as opposed to bad quarterback play. So would you put Trey Lance? Would you put Jimmy G? Would you put Brock Purdy? And there's an argument to be made that at times last year, I don't think that's an argument, probably all 3 were better than Zach Wilson, for instance, last year. So, but then the sample size, and sample size shouldn't really matter, but then you get into a situation where, you could, someone's list theoretically could have 6 quarterbacks who play for 2 teams. You could have Tua, Teddy Bridgewater, and Skylar Thompson, and then Trey Lance, Brock Purdy, and Jimmy G.
But
and
it's your list. It's your list.
Oh, it's your list, but again, yeah, if I was to do it, I'd rather go in the sense of each team must be representative, and the best for that team. Or you say to the person, okay, you don't need to have Brock Purdy, but you have to have one 49ers quarterback. So if you think Brock Purdy was better than Jimmy G and Trey Lance, he's your 49ers representative. If you think Zach Wilson was better than Mike White, he's your Jets representative. And any other, like, again, the Panthers, who went through about, it feels like 10 quarterbacks. Who's the best Panthers quarterback who you feel he's your 49ers representative?
All right, I understand what you're saying. You're saying it doesn't have to be us 3 as a committee decide Brock Purdy's going to be the quarterback for San Fran. And then if someone decides Jimmy Garoppolo is better than Brock Purdy, how come he's not on the list? The list is invalidated. What you're saying is we don't have to have that conversation, but San Fran should be represented. So if you, Kadeem, felt like Brock Purdy was better than Garoppolo, and ShareRide Steve, because I would never think Garoppolo was better than somebody. If ShareRide Steve felt like Garoppolo was better than Purdy, then your list could have Purdy and ShareRide Steve's list could have Garoppolo. Is that what you're saying?
Pretty much, yeah.
How you feel about that, Steve?
I think I follow what you're saying, but I was just going to say that I think it's key for us to at least try to make it apples to apples, because I don't want to have a list where we have 8 different guys. You know what I mean? Like, I think we're getting caught in the weeds, but to find a happy median, I think you can limit the amount of backups. So let's just say 2. So are you really going to put that many backups on your list? I think we're getting, like, this is not that big of a deal to me, but I think, yeah, we just cap it because there's plenty of people I know think that Trey Lance is better than a lot of people in the league. Right. So I don't want to get, that's like an argument it's almost like you need your own list of backup rankings.
So and again, we don't have to hash this out now, and we can actually move on to the different part of the criteria. But That's why I think it doesn't matter what the 32 quarterbacks are, because if you thought it was Brock Purdy and I thought it was Trey Lance, it'll be on the list. So who cares if Zach Wilson don't make the list? You know what I'm saying? In my opinion. And then that's going to be in the 20s, late 20s anyway, if we're talking about Zach Wilson, and that's not really what the meat and potatoes of this argument really is. But that's here nor there for now. Everyone in the comments, let us know, should every team be represented in the quarterback ranking list, or should it just be the top 32 quarterbacks in the NFL listed in the top 32? Let us know your thoughts, and we'll get that figured out. There's so much more. Go Time Dolphins, Miami Dolphins podcast that goes not only across the pond but across the world. Y'all caught us on a kind of special episode where it's not just a Dolphins episode today, but it's a quarterback ranking episode. We're trying to figure out the criteria to rank the top 32 quarterbacks in the NFL. What else it could be an issue for us? What else could be problematic, fellas?
Whether we judge, or how far in the past do we judge, and how far forward? I think how far forward is kind of like you wouldn't really set a time on it because so much can change. And again, my reason for not judging, 2 years in the past is that some quarterbacks at that time were in college and were playing against, guys who were never ever going to make it in the NFL. So I'm happy to go back in the past, but I do kind of feel like there should be, context should be provided. Okay, this guy 2 years ago was playing college and he was up against small schools and he was absolutely dominating. But you can tell that, from his tape, it didn't matter who was, the opposing school. It wouldn't make no difference. He was just that good.
What you think, Steve?
No, I'm more of the opinion of we have to have that in the equation, because Trey Lance would not be on your list then for sure, then, Kadeem. Like, he has no real NFL tape. So he's a talent that went third overall. And there's a lot of believers, and I'm sure there's a lot of disbelievers. So for me, I see what you're saying. It should just be, we got to figure out how it's weighted. I would want more body of work, but more weighted heavily on the future than the past, last year, or, in college, obviously. To me, because even Trevor Lawrence, he was on my list last year, around 15, 16 or so. If I recall, and it wasn't based off of what he did with Jacksonville. It was what I saw him at Clemson. Like, I know, I can see with my own two eyes what he's capable of doing. So, yeah, I understand what you're saying, Kadeem, for sure. But you have to, I think that's what makes this like really interesting and fun. It's predicting the future. That's what.
So that brings us to another question, and we're going to get there, because obviously we didn't figure nothing out yet. So rookies should be in the conversation. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah. So if because you're going to have Bryce Young come in. You're going to have CJ Stroud come in. And if I am of the opinion that CJ Stroud is better than Zach Wilson, CJ Stroud should be on my list higher than Zach Wilson. So I understand, well, maybe we can't go back to college. I get that. But the word that's going to come up a lot is nuance. We have to somehow, some way incorporate potential. You know what I'm saying? The potential of this person, the ceiling of this quarterback is higher than the ceiling of B quarterback. You know what I'm saying? So when you're going back to Aaron Rodgers playing in Cal, we're not talking about that. Now, if you're caught up on, well, Aaron Rodgers is elite or was elite or whatever you think elite might be, and this is not to give away my list, but Aaron Rodgers has how many years left? How good do we think Aaron Rodgers is? Is this a list of this is not the what quarterback do you want to play one game list? This is not that list. You know what I'm saying? This is the who is the top 32 quarterbacks in the NFL list. Now, if it was one drive, one quarterback, one play list, it'll be a different looking list. So I do think there has to be a conversation where we incorporate potential. Again, incorporate, well, what if this team was on that team? Oh, I'm sorry. What if this player was on that team? Would it look different? I think there's also, you got to have a rookie. You're gonna have to have rookies on it, because I don't know how Zach Wilson's gonna make my list. If y'all make me have to put this man on the list, I don't know how he's gonna make it. He might just be one of the periods after the numbers. I don't know, but I don't know where I'm gonna put this man. So yeah, I think all that needs to be open to a discussion. So as of right now, I think it has to be just a look. It's a, who do you think is better than who? Meaning, right now, who is the quarterback that you want on your team? Like, I think that kind of equates to this quarterback is better than that quarterback. No, that doesn't.
No.
It does not equate.
I don't think it does.
You don't think so? What about you, Steve? And if you don't, we'll get back to having you elaborate why you think that doesn't equate.
No, I like where you were going there a second. I think it should be really simplified. It should be a 1 sentence, 2 sentence criteria, which is basically you're starting a franchise. Who are you going with?
Hold up. If we start a franchise, then that means money's involved and stuff like that.
No.
Well, hold up, but then you got years. How many years I got Aaron Rodgers for?
Right. Yeah, maybe
You know what
not
I'm saying?
start a franchise. Let's say we'll say a 1 to 2 year window. Like you're something. I don't know. I see what you're saying.
No, you're onto something, Steve. That's fair. You're onto something. Because if you have to have a quarterback for the next 2 years, that kind of simplifies a lot, because you're not talking about 10 years, because Aaron Rodgers won't be there in 10 years.
Right.
So if you said you have a quarterback, you have to pick a quarterback for the next 2 years. What quarterback you taking, and then rank them in 32 in the top 32. Go ahead, Kadeem.
I was gonna say, yeah, if the quarterback rankings list should be could be ranked by what they've done over the past 2 years and what you think they'll do in the next 2 years, because 2 years is a long time in the NFL, but it's not that long. There are certain people like 12, who's obviously just retired. I would like to think 12. I would say like to think, does 12 make the list because he's retired?
I think we could simplify that right now. Does 12 make the list, Steve?
No,
I don't think he should.
And I think we were trying to get Roethlisberger out of there last year anyway. So 12 don't make the list.
Yeah, I think Big Ben made the list.
He did, but it was a conversation of should we have him or not, though.
Yeah, but I think Rodgers, and I think like this is the Rodgers rule, because he probably doesn't have more than 2 years left in him, and I think outside of him, maybe Matt Ryan, maybe even I think Tannehill's probably got a few more years left in him. But at what level? Is he a backup going forward? Will he be a starter? I think, yeah, if you kind of look at 2 years before and 2 years going forward, it's like a 4-year window, give or take, if that makes sense.
So I'm gonna be real with you. This is another reason why I think every team doesn't have to be represented, because Matt Ryan, right? So Colts are probably going to draft a rookie, and that rookie is probably going to be better than whatever quarterback played for the Colts. Same thing with the Texans, right? So is it going to be Davis Mills, or is it going to be whoever they draft in the first round? But that's, again, we'll hash that out later. I do like where we're going with the 2-year window. You have now, will we word the question like you have the next 2 years to win the Super Bowl, or what quarterback would you rather have for the next 2 seasons, and then rank them?
Yeah,
that sound accurate. What you think, Kadeem?
Yeah, that sounds fine.
You have to choose a quarterback for the next 2 seasons. What quarterback are you going with, and rank them from 1 to 32? I think we're on to something. Matter of fact, I know we're on to something, because now that's how you can include rookies. Because if you rather have CJ Stroud over some of these people in the NFL for the next 2 years, cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's going to be a young rookie CJ Stroud, but it's not going to be, projected out to 5 years, CJ Stroud is going to be a Hall of Famer. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be, the next 2 years, you have to have a quarterback. And absent of salary cap, money is not in the equation. This is pure talent. Who do you want to have who would you want to be your quarterback for the next 2 years? And I think we just 44 minutes just figured it out into the podcast. What else can we clean up?
Which rookies would you have on that list? Because there's at least 4 coming out who people would probably go in the first year, so in the first round, but there's probably a few who might go later, but might be, and I guess call it like the Dak Prescott, who out of nowhere becomes a starter, and all of a sudden it's, oh my day, is amazing.
Go ahead, Steve.
Are we going to do this pre or post draft?
And I was that's the other thing. Depend on the rookies, it probably would be best to do it post draft, because again, if say for whatever reason after the draft the Jets still haven't traded Aaron Rodgers, but they took someone in like the second or third round, it's like, did that mean they're sticking with this or that particular person? And no, because then all of a sudden, like, where does Jordan Love fall into this? Who would probably be
that's my point exactly. Like, it doesn't matter if it's pre-draft for me or post-draft for me. It doesn't matter if Jordan Love is on this list or not. It just matters who the 32 quarterbacks are that you rather have for the next 2 years. And if it's going to be some guy that Charlie Touche found in the 6th round and he's on my list at 32, then okay, you guys probably be like, well, I don't know about this dude, Charlie. And the next thing you know, he starts for the Saints. Then okay, I was onto something. But that's not likely. You know what I'm saying? So I think those conversations are for those of us who want to represent every team. I'm not of the mindset that I want to represent every team, so that doesn't matter to me. But if I'm going to play along and we are going to represent every 32 teams, then now that becomes significant. And I don't think it should be significant.
Yeah, the only thing that for me, it does make it tricky. Like Justin Fields is a great example. Terrible situation, awful, no talent at all around him. So he's hard to evaluate. You know, you see spurts. Obviously, he cooked us for 170 yards on the ground or something. Excuse me. So yeah, it's tough because situations dictate careers in a lot of cases. So even though we're saying yes, clean slate, no cap, just raw talent, it's easy to say that, but we obviously know some quarterbacks are in position to put up the numbers and get to the playoffs and be in contention for a Super Bowl. So there you go. So, that's what I'm saying. Like it's a very it's not a simple ranking. There's a lot of variables, and I think that's one of them where it's tough. Daniel Jones, there you go. You weren't a fan. I said I thought the guy could play, and I think this past year, he never called him a superstar, but the dude just got paid, and
just because you pay someone doesn't mean that he's nice. But he's better than what I thought. I could say that. He's better than what I thought. He's better than what I thought. He's not Danny Dimes though. He's not getting that. He's Danny Dollars now. He got paid. He's Danny Dollars.
What wideout did he have?
Hey, you want to do this now, or you want to do this on the episode, Steve? I'm just saying.
I just asked you a simple question, man.
So how about this? What about the guy that says, well, what system is this quarterback playing in? How do we get around that question? Does the system matter? Is it just look, you know what this question means. If the system outside of the system, it doesn't matter what system, the ideal system for that quarterback, I guess. No, is that not how it works?
No, I agree with that. I mean, you can't say, you're going to put Aaron Rodgers and Jalen Hurts in the same system.
Yeah,
you're just not going to run that. It's not going to happen. So yeah, you're going to take them and presume that they're going to be presented or have the talent that suits them and their skill set.
Talent and system for their skill set.
Yeah, your preference. Yeah, so you want more of a pure passer,
right,
rather than an option. Yeah, that's your preference. Yeah.
Because you're going to have that Lamar Jackson conversation too. So, all right, I think we figured it out. I ain't going to lie to you. I think we did enough for the podcast to where everyone has heard the criteria that we wrestled over. And if you guys heard anything on this podcast that you want to add to it, let us know in the comments. Hit us up. We want to make sure everyone participates in this. And eventually, don't give us your top 32 yet. We'll get there. So once we hash out the criteria, we will give everyone the criteria prior to the quarterback ranking episode, and then everyone could play along. You're going to see everyone's top 32 quarterbacks in the NFL list in the comments and via social media. And I'm sure we're going to have some fun with it. And I'm sure Kadeem and ShareRide Steve are going to have to answer to why they didn't have two in the top 10. But, you know, I'm just saying. You got something else you want to throw at us, Kadeem?
If I could throw something at you right now, I would. So, I'm just gonna leave it there.
What's up, Steve, man? Like, what you got?
I'm presuming this is definitely gonna be a live episode, right?
Bro,
100%.
I don't want anything that doesn't have to do with live episodes, bro. This is gonna be epic. It was probably our best episode last season. It's gonna be a movie this season. We're gonna have a few people's rankings when we do the episode. Shout out to the same old Dolphins. They're gonna participate. A couple other people are gonna participate, and we'll have more than just my list and Kadeem's list and ShareRide Steve's list. But us three would really hash it out and figure it out. But y'all come on over to bonus time, man. Y'all know what time it is. Stay positive, test negative. For ShareRide Steve and Kadeem Simmons, I'm Charlie Touche. Thank you for tuning in this time. Make sure you catch us next time on Go Time. Already.
Gotta make them lose their mind when it's your time. And it's show time. Going all out when it's go time. I ain't wasting no time. Gotta make them lose their mind when it's show time. Cause it's your time. Lay it on the line when it's go time. Don't waste no time. Gotta make them lose their mind when it's your time. And it's show time. Going all out when it's go time. I ain't wasting no time.
Oh, it's gonna be so much fun. It's
good stuff. So much fun. Good stuff, man. Nah, I like it. And then again, we'll figure it out. So right before we do have to put the list. Oh, you know what? Some more good stuff, Steve. I'm not gonna be able to see the list this time. Before we record. Now, and to be fair, I didn't go over the list. I had them. Yes, I had them in my possession, but I didn't I'm gonna bust them up here. I didn't do none of that. So I'm not gonna have the list. I'm not gonna be privy to any of the information. We got a whole team of people now that work behind the scenes for Go Time Dolphins. Shout out to everyone behind the scenes in our social media teams, our graphics, and everyone. And they do videos for us now. Shout out to everyone behind the scenes on Go Time Dolphins. Too many to name right now, honestly. So they're gonna really set this up for us. We're gonna have some graphics. We're gonna have everybody's quarterback rankings laid out for everyone to see. And this thing might be like a couple weeks. We might have to have everyone who has a list come defend the list on the podcast, and that could go. Maybe we'll have a roundtable. Who knows? You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man. Yeah, I ain't gonna see the list this time. Steve, you like that? I
do like that. Send me your list. That's what I want. Because I'm telling you, I'm gonna be ready. But you send me your list. Oh, give me some time.
This guy.
Around that.
Hey. So how would we? I guess we'll figure that out when we go live. We'll probably have to show everybody the list and stuff like that. Nah, it's cool. We ain't got to worry about that. You got anything for us for bonus time, Kadeem?
Yeah, of course. Obviously the Dolphins have made a number of moves so far on this off season. Steve, what do you make of the moves you've made so far? Are there any moves which you're surprised the Dolphins haven't made yet, or you just kind of like it's still March, there's plenty of time to address certain positions?
Yeah, thus far it's kind of went as I expected. I thought there was going to be two splash moves, and Jalen Ramsey has been the only one that I would consider a splash. But yeah, it's I think it's been good. I think they're being cautious because we know what we're doing to ourselves cap wise. How we're all in now, but you still have to be responsible enough not to just go crazy. And yeah, I like it. I've said from the jump, Ramsey not my first choice. I think he's been slipping, and I'm guilty of saying I'm not an FSU guy, and I got a lot of buddies that are. So I've been dogging this man for a while. So that's part of it for me. But no, I mean, there's no doubt he's an upgrade. There's no doubt that I think in this system, I think Fangio is the biggest splash, actually, for me personally. I truly believe this defense should be top 5. I think our front and our secondary, without question, should be elite. The linebackers are a big question. Baker is not going anywhere as of this past Sunday. He got his guaranteed money, so apparently he's locked in, which I'm fine with. He has the athleticism, so I'm sure Fangio signed off on it and said, yeah, he's going to work in the system. And then, every team has to do it every year, but especially now the way we're operating, we got to hit on draft picks. We really have to add depth, and the O-line. Well, that's the other nice thing is the draft caters to us apparently this year. Lots of tight ends and lots of O-line. So, and even running backs. I think I could definitely see us snagging a running back this year. So overall, I'm pretty pleased, and mostly about the defense for sure.
Yeah, you said a lot there, Steve. There's nothing wrong with Jerome Baker. You just don't want him to be your number 1 linebacker. You know what I'm saying? You wish you had he's a solid number 2. Problem is he's our number 1. And we said that with other people before on our team. And you also mentioned multiple splashes. I still think there's time for another splash. Doesn't have to be free agency, but it could be a trade in the draft. It could be a post-June addition where someone gets traded closer to the season because another team wants to off somebody. So there's still time for us to improve so much on this team. And as far as the draft goes, do not be surprised if you see a future pick get traded in this draft. Like, meaning, Miami understands that the 2023 season and 2024 season is where it has to happen. So don't be surprised if you see a trade from Miami trades 2024 second round for something in this draft. Don't be shocked. You also mentioned the DBs. Listen, I got the stats right here in front of me. Actually, points per game allowed. Miami Dolphins ranked 24th. Points, pass yards per game allowed, ranked 27th. Passing touchdowns allowed, ranked 26th. Takeaways, ranked tied for 30th. And opposing passer rating was 28th. We ranked 28th. So our defense was not it. Somehow we ranked somewhere in the top, in the teens in our defense overall. But it is what it is. Our defense wasn't it. That's never going to be a problem. All the depth in the world now at DB, all the depth in the world now on D-line. For anyone saying, why aren't we going to the offensive side of the ball? I don't mind it. I really do wish we had an O-line. And that leads me to my next question, Steve. I remember you mentioned, you said we just need a good enough O-line. Is the O-line good enough? And do you still believe all we need is a quote unquote good enough O-line?
Yeah, no, I think it's adequate. I really do. I do. It's well, let's face it. Do you like Robert Hunt?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you like Hunter Williams?
Yeah.
Do you like Armstead? Okay, so you got the majority of the O-line you like.
There's a whole bunch of I could add something to the conversation with Armstead and Connor Williams. It's like, if I'm being honest, Robert Hunt is the only one that's a lock for me. He's the only one that I'm locked in
Armstead,
on.
If Armstead's healthy, do you have any problem with him?
Yeah, but that's not a lock. If healthy isn't a lock.
Okay, listen, I don't want to start the Tua talk with you, man. But
I was, sorry, the moment you said that, I was like, dude, don't say that. Don't say that.
If healthy is not a lock, bro.
So selective we are.
Hey, we could go there though. You're not saying nothing, bro. That's not. Bro, it's everyone's aware if Tua's healthy. We understand that if Tua's healthy, and I never said that he would be healthy all the time. I'm just saying I trust him. I really do trust my dog. Like y'all see the shirt, man. Shout out to the Tua Foundation. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, man. I'm just saying, bro.
So to go back to your question, that's it. I mean, I don't know how you can be that upset with the O-line. And yes, we have a hole at right tackle for
Not
sure.
upset with the O-line, but go ahead.
Austin Jackson, we don't know how confident they are in him. We can say all the positive things, and
I think we do know how confident they are in him by not addressing it.
Well, I mean, we got to see how it plays out. There's still a lot of free agents out there. There's like you just said, there's moves to be made, and the draft is coming up. We have some draft capital. It's not like we lost all of our picks. A second rounder offensive line in a deep draft with O-line, you can get some good value. There's going to be good guys there. We just have to pick the right ones.
And you can trade up.
That's it. And you just said it. We're all in, and everyone knows it. So there's no reason for us to just, let's not risk this. No, I think Greer's going to be aggressive. And what I'm getting at is if you can lock up the right tackle, you're good. With the left guard, you have a hole. Okay, on a team, you're going to have holes. Like, it's going to happen. But if you got a guy that almost was a first rounder, Eichenberg was, early second? A talented guy, and then you have Jackson then maybe who might slide over and compete. You have real talent to at least work with. And that's on the coaching staff at that point. So I think Greer has done his job. Yes, he's misfired on O-line, but he's tried. I mean, I'll go back to DJ Fluker, who we love that signing as utility, can play left, play right. It didn't pan out. He's had a lot of bad luck on the O-line as well as just misfiring. I think after the draft, post-draft, let's ask me that question again. I think you are going to feel better. I'm going to even feel better about what we have. I think there's going to be more capable bodies, not just, okay, this guy is okay. It's going to be more high ceiling guys.
I want to be clear. I don't feel bad about the O-line. I don't feel like we have a terrible O-line. I'm just saying we went from 32 to 20th. I appreciate that. You know what I'm saying? I really do appreciate that. Because I was on this podcast saying, yo, just give me the 20th ranked O-line. Verbatim. I've said that. And we had the 20th ranked O-line. And do I have to remind everyone how many games we won? 8? We were 8-0, 7-0?
I don't think it's 7-0 because did we lose like our fourth game or something dumb like that?
Did we lose our fourth game?
We were 8-3.
All right, 8-3. Who did we lose to early? We beat the Bills. We beat
the Bills,
Baltimore,
beat New England.
How about you bring up what's up, stat check? Bring up the
we started. I know we started 3-0 for a fact. 2022.
Bengals week 4. We lost to the Bengals in week 4. So 8-3. So we started 8-3. That's good enough. We don't need it now. So we started 8-3. We remember that much. We started 8-3. All right. So yes, the O-line was solid. I can say solid. But there's something to be said when me and you know where we stand on Jalen Hurts and that team makes it to the Super Bowl and is a drive away from winning it. You know what I'm saying? When Miles Sanders is an actual running back in the league, becomes a free agent and is not coveted. You see what I'm saying? So there's something to be said about having an O-line when Kansas City went to, I want to say it was either the AFC Championship. Yeah, it was the AFC Championship. When Kansas City went to the AFC Championship and lost 2 years ago because their line wasn't as good as it needed to be. You know what I'm saying? So we could only say so many times that it starts in the trenches and then not address the trenches. You know what I'm saying? So if you had opportunities to address the trenches, why not address it?
But I was going to say, like, and I'm not trying to make excuses for the Dolphins, but so much of the Dolphins' success last season and going forward is keeping guys healthy. And the injury luck on the offensive line last year was just like someone has voodoo dolls of Dolphin players and they're just pricking them because we all know that Tevin Armstead can't stay healthy. But it was like Austin Jackson went down, came back, and then went down again. Liam Eichenberg got injured. We'd sign guys off the street and they would get injured. So
Eric Fisher injured.
Yeah.
Didn't even see the field.
So it gets to a point where, yes, the Dolphins offensive line ranked 20th, but there must have been, no word of a lie, 10 plus players, and that's just at the bare minimum. And at what point do you say, even if the Dolphins have, like, because the Eagles defensive line, as far as I know, didn't have that many injuries. They managed to stay healthy throughout the majority of the season. And if they did have injuries, it was like one guy. The Dolphins, like, there were games where we go, yo, who is that guy playing offensive line? Because he didn't exist yesterday. Like, that's how bad it was.
That's the thing though, Kadeem. The conversation isn't a healthy O-line. The conversation is addressing the O-line. So, for example, it's the offseason now. We didn't win the Super Bowl. Okay, we're trying to get to the Super Bowl. We addressed DB. You see what I'm saying? We brought in Jalen Ramsey. We had an option to not bring in Jalen Ramsey and put this guaranteed money that he got to the O-line.
But hold on, sorry, we wouldn't have brought in Jalen Ramsey if Byron Jones wasn't finished.
But no. But it's still you had an option to address O-line or address DB, and we chose to address DB
because
you
Byron
act
Jones,
like we didn't have an option.
No, because Byron Jones had left.
Yeah, but we still have the option to address it.
But hold on, if Austin Jackson was like, you know what, my injury is so bad, I have to leave. Do you not think the Dolphins would have addressed O-line? The way the Dolphins team is built at the moment, we're going all in. You lose a starting cornerback, you have to replace him. The Dolphins lost no starters offensive line, so it's a matter of do we, yes, you need to address offensive line, but addressing corner was a priority because you lost Byron Jones.
That's philosophy, because my philosophy is the O-line is the most important unit on the team. So I would like to address O-line before I address DB, regardless of what it looks like. If I have the 20th ranked DBs and 20th ranked secondary and the 20th ranked O-line, why would I not address the 20th ranked O-line? That's what I'm saying.
But I feel like, okay, I know you're not ignoring the point, but the Dolphins lost a key piece of the secondary, which you have to address. The Dolphins haven't lost no key pieces.
What key piece do we have on the offensive line?
Who we lost?
No. What key piece do we have on the offensive line?
Well, we've already said Teron Armstead.
All right, so he's not even healthy. He's never healthy. So in my eyes, we don't have a key piece to lose. We lost a key piece in the DBs, but we don't even have a key piece on the O-line.
As of right now, it's Teron Armstead playing next season.
Yes.
So then there you go. End of discussion.
No, but he's not a key piece to me though. I don't consider Teron Armstead a key piece. He's not healthy enough to be a key piece.
Steve, tag team wrestling, tagging out Steve. take on what he just said, because that is not.
I'm just saying, bro.
Steve,
Charlie, how many games did he miss last year?
Maybe 4, maybe 3. Not a lot.
He didn't miss a lot. No more than 3.
Yeah, so, off the top, I don't think he missed a lot.
Even though, he's on the injury report and every part of his body is listed.
Yeah.
The guy does show up. He suits up, and there was some scary moments where, he talks to he was going to be shut down, but you got to just give that man credit. Lane Johnson from the Eagles.
No, I'm not taking away credit.
He was hurt, but he showed up. So I think he can be reliable. That's what I'm getting at right now.
I didn't say he couldn't. I'm just saying, if I'm a GM, if I'm the GM, why would I not put better support around that? Is what I'm saying. Like, that's my job as a GM. Hey, Chris Greer, my dog. Y'all acting like I don't like Chris Greer. I'm just saying, if I am the GM, I'm going to make sure if there's a unit on the team that I make sure is solidified. The same way we have Jalen Ramsey now, Xavier Howard now, Kader Kohu, Nick Needham, friend of the podcast, Javon Holland, friend of the podcast, Brandon Jones, and more. Shout out to friend of a podcast, Trill Williams. Please come on the podcast. We just really want to top it up with you, bro. Look at all that depth I just mentioned in the secondary. For the life of us, we cannot mention the depth on the O-line. It's not that deep. So if I am the GM and I am making a Super Bowl run, I am going to address the most important unit on the team. That's all I'm saying.
Just a couple things. First, obviously the offseason's not over. So let's see how it plays out.
For sure, 100%. 100%.
And then secondly, I want to see this O-line improve from a run game perspective, because tell me a game last year, and sincerely, that Tua just got destroyed. Like, he had no time to throw. Like, it was the O-line just played like trash. I can't think of one game that stood out like, wow, like he has no chance today. It was, and his injuries in Buffalo, that was all on him. It was a late, like he got pushed late, and it was a routine football play. Bengals, he should have thrown it away. He was sitting back there forever. Like, even when he got his dinged up, it wasn't because of the O-line.
100%.
And that's how we protect Tua as well. We give him a running game. So for me, the way I think you're talking about the GM, what he's saying, he designed this offense, quick throws, quick release. And then I'm going to give you the best wide receiver duo in the league. You have to sacrifice somewhere when you are going to invest heavily in one position.
And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with sacrificing that DB. The person who loves DB, I'm okay with sacrificing that DB to make sure. But hold up. But here's what I'm saying. No one said Tua's injury was because of the O-line. Tua's injuries wasn't even because he got hit. All of Tua's injuries were ground induced. So that being said, that takes me to the O-line point where we're talking about the running game. If the O-line was better, the running game would be better. And that's simplified. You see what I'm saying? So the O-line is decent. I didn't say it was terrible. I never said it was terrible. I just said we could be better. And we have the 20th ranked O-line, and look how good it did protecting Tua. That's great. Now imagine if we had the 10th ranked O-line. How much better would this team look like? How much better would this team look with the 10th ranked O-line with Steve just saying Tua didn't even get hit like that?
Yeah. Well, if every position is going to be top 10, you're going to be.
I don't need my DBs. I would love for the DBs to be top 10 and the O-line to be top 10. But if I had to pick one, I want my O-line to be top 10. That's it.
I think there's this, and again, context is so important, but there's this sense on social media, and social media dictates so many conversations at the moment. But people want to address offensive line and let's protect Tua, let's protect the blind side, because it kind of comes across like Tua's injuries stem from bad offensive line play. And like ShareRide Steve so eloquently said, it really doesn't. I think of all of Tua's injuries in the NFL, only one stems from bad offensive line play. And that's the broken ribs against Buffalo when I think it's Jesse Davis just doesn't move and AJ Epinesa just steamrolls Tua and breaks his ribs. That's the only one off the top of my head where you can look at Tua got hurt because of bad offensive line play. Charlie's face, I can't tell if you disagree with me or.
But I just said I didn't say the O-line wasn't good enough to protect Tua because I agreed. Hold on. I agreed that the O-line was good enough to protect Tua, but the fact that Tua is protected has nothing to do with the O-line being ranked 20th.
So at no point did I say you were saying that. I was saying if you let me finish my point instead of jumping in.
I didn't jump in. You brought me in. You brought me in. I was just making faces.
Yeah, I brought you in because people on YouTube were like, yo, Charlie clearly disagrees with Kadeem. So I was like, you know what?
I do disagree with Kadeem.
Anyway, so as I was saying, so again, I'm not Chris Greer, I'm not Mike McDaniel, but I wouldn't be surprised if the thought was our quarterback, I guess, stays upright and has enough time to, hit Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill. I do agree, Charlie, when you said, the offensive line improving obviously improves the run game. So even if you move Connor Williams to the left guard and bring in a center, snap issues were still a problem last year. Hopefully it's something which another offseason between Connor Williams and Tua that improves. But again, I think the way the free agent market has kind of panned out so far in multiple positions, I don't think many people expected it. So I'm not worried right now, midway through March, that the Dolphins haven't seriously addressed offensive line when there's still moves to be made, there's still trades to be made, and we've still got the draft. I know, Steve, you said, it can be discussed after the draft. My whole thing is, what's the offensive line look like week one? That's what I'm going to be like. If you still got the same offensive lineman, I'm like, hey, hold on, you really neglected it. So and again, what's that face about, Charlie?
I'm just saying, that's what I'm saying right now. I'm in the moment right now. And right now, we still have the ranked 20th O-line and didn't address anything. So I'm still saying what you're saying right now, but I'm just saying it. Hold up. I'm saying it in March. You want to wait till August. So it's the same thing.
It's not the same thing because you just said. So you just said I want to wait till August. You want to wait till March. So all of a sudden we're making two completely different points. Because my point is
because you said I want to wait to see if we address it, but we ain't address it. So I'm addressing it now. You want to wait to see if we address it.
It's an hour and 50 minutes in this episode. I'm not.
All right, real quick. I will say this. I cannot subscribe to good enough for the O-line. I can subscribe to good enough for the linebackers. Oh, you know what? The linebackers are good enough. Look at our DBs. Look at our D-line. The linebackers are good enough. We have Waddle. We have Tyreek Hill. Linebackers are good enough. I could give you good enough for the linebackers. I can never give you the O-line is good enough. I can never do that. And the O-line, yeah, it might be good enough, but you shouldn't want to settle for good enough for the most important unit on the field. That's all I'm saying.
The first pick, offensive lineman.
It depends what the draft gives you at this point. Like we're picking 51st or something like that. Like we got to see what the draft gives us. Now I'm not gonna lie to you. If someone falls that I like and they fall to like 34, I don't mind trading a 2 and a 3 and a future 4 to go get something. And the bad thing is we've traded before for Eichenberg. We traded up for Eichenberg, right? Or did we trade up for Long? Did we not trade up for Eichenberg?
It might have been both.
I felt like we traded up for both of them. But we traded up for a lineman before and it didn't work out. So I'm just saying you got to hit on your lineman, bro. It's really real right now.
Oopsie.